Have you ever wondered, what are the true limits of human survival? That's a question that has intrigued humanity for ages. Exploring the boundaries of what we as a species can endure is more than just a philosophical query. It's a testament to our incredible adaptability, resilience, and sheer willpower. Human survival is a complex interplay of physical endurance, mental resilience, and environmental adaptability. Let's break that down a bit. Physical endurance is about how our bodies respond to stress, whether it's extreme cold, high altitudes, or prolonged periods of hunger and thirst. It's about how our hearts keep beating, our lungs keep breathing, and our cells keep functioning in the face of adversity. Mental resilience, on the other hand, is the mind's ability to stay focused, determined, and hopeful even when the odds seem insurmountable. It's about the stories we tell ourselves, the willpower we summon, and the hope we cling to when everything else seems lost. And then there's environmental adaptability. This is our innate ability to adjust to different habitats, climates, and situations. From the icy tundras of the Arctic to the scorching deserts of the Sahara, humans have shown an amazing ability to adapt and thrive in the most inhospitable environments. But here's the thing. These factors aren't isolated. They're interconnected, each influencing and being influenced by the others. Our physical endurance can be bolstered by our mental resilience. Our environmental adaptability can be enhanced by our physical endurance, and our mental resilience can be strengthened by our adaptability. So, how far can humans really go in the face of adversity? What is the true extent of our survival capabilities? These aren't just theoretical questions, they're real, tangible challenges that people have faced and overcome throughout history. And to truly understand the limits of human survival, we need to delve into these real-life stories. We need to hear about the men and women who've pushed the boundaries, who've defied the odds, who've shown us what it really means to survive. So, how far can humans really go in the face of adversity? Let's dive into some real-life stories to find out. Imagine being trapped under ice in freezing water for more than an hour. Sounds impossible to survive, right? Not for Anna Bågenholm. Anna Bågenholm, a Swedish radiologist, was skiing in Norway's Hemsedal Mountains in 1999 when she fell into a frozen stream. The ice gave way beneath her, plunging her into the ice-cold water. She was trapped, her body wedged under a layer of ice nearly 8 inches thick. Her companions could see her, but they couldn't reach her. For 80 grueling minutes, Anna was submerged in the freezing water, her body temperature dropping to 24 degrees Celsius, far below the normal 37 degrees. You might think that's a death sentence, but here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Anna's body, in response to the extreme cold, entered a state of hypothermia. Her heart rate and metabolism slowed down, effectively putting her into a state of suspended animation. It's a bit like what happens when you press pause on a movie. Everything stops, but it can start up again. By the time rescue arrived, Anna's heart had stopped beating for more than 2 hours. She was clinically dead. But the doctors at Tromsø University Hospital didn't give up on her. They used a heart-lung machine to slowly warm her blood, a process that took over 9 hours. Miraculously, Anna's heart started beating again. She woke up 20 days later, paralyzed but alive. Against all odds, she had survived. Anna's survival wasn't just a miracle, though. It was a testament to the human body's incredible resilience and adaptability. When faced with extreme conditions, our bodies can do extraordinary things to keep us alive. The process of hypothermia, while dangerous, can also be a lifesaver under certain circumstances, slowing down our body's functions and buying us precious time. Anna's story proves that the human body can endure extremely low temperatures and still survive, given certain conditions. It's a stark reminder of the mind-boggling limits of human survival. Now imagine being lost at sea alone for over a year. Unthinkable? Meet Salvador Alvarenga. Salvador Alvarenga, a seasoned fisherman from El Salvador, embarked on a routine fishing trip in November 2012. Little did he know that this trip would turn into a survival saga that would last 438 days. When a fierce storm hit, Alvarenga and his crewmate, Ezequiel Cordoba, found themselves adrift in the Pacific Ocean, with no means to navigate back to shore. The boat's motor was dead, and their radio was waterlogged. They were alone, stranded in the great blue expanse, with nothing but their wits and will to survive. The physical challenges were immense. With no fresh water, Alvarenga and Cordoba had to rely on rainwater and the bodily fluids of sea creatures. Food was equally scarce. They caught fish, birds, and turtles with their bare hands, eating them raw to preserve every bit of nutrition. Yet, the mental challenges were perhaps even more daunting. Imagine the isolation, the despair, the terror of not knowing if you'll ever see another human being again. The psychological strength required to endure such conditions is beyond comprehension. Sadly, Cordoba didn't survive the ordeal, succumbing to starvation and the harsh elements. But Alvarenga, fueled by a resolve as vast as the ocean itself, kept going. He fought off sharks, endured sunstroke, and weathered the crushing loneliness. What kept him going, you ask? It was his survival instinct, the primal, indomitable human spirit that refuses to give in, no matter the odds. He dreamed of the day he would see his family again, and that hope kept him alive. After 438 days adrift, Alvarenga washed ashore on a remote island in the Pacific. He was emaciated, sunburned, and barely alive, but he had survived, proving the extraordinary limits of human endurance. Salvador's story shows us that with resourcefulness and a strong will to live, humans can survive even in the most challenging circumstances. What about surviving at high altitudes, in freezing temperatures, with limited food and supplies? The survivors of the 1972 Andes flight disaster did just that. In October 1972, a plane carrying the Uruguayan rugby team, along with family and friends, crashed in the Andes Mountains. What followed was a harrowing tale of survival that lasted for 72 days. The crash itself was a catastrophe, but it was only the beginning of the ordeal. The survivors found themselves stranded in the middle of nowhere, amidst the frozen peaks of the Andes, with little to no resources. They were faced with freezing temperatures, high altitudes, and a lack of oxygen. The survivors knew they had to act fast. They used the wreckage of the plane to create shelter, protecting themselves from the harsh elements. They rationed what little food they had, knowing that it had to last until they were rescued. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, their food supply diminished. Their situation was dire, but they refused to give up. They demonstrated incredible resourcefulness, using the plane's radio to try and call for help, melting snow for water and making makeshift sunglasses to protect their eyes from snow blindness. But perhaps the most remarkable part of their survival story is the sheer determination they exhibited. The survivors knew that if they were to have any chance of survival, they would need to do the unthinkable. They made the agonizing decision to use the bodies of their deceased friends as a source of food. It was a decision that saved their lives. Teamwork was crucial. They relied on each other for physical support, for emotional strength, and for the will to keep going. They shared their food, they took turns keeping watch, and they worked together to stay alive. The story of the Andes survivors is a testament to the human spirit and the will to survive. It's a tale of courage, of resourcefulness, and of the power of teamwork. It's a reminder that the human body and the human spirit can endure far more than we often give them credit for. The story of the Andes survivors reminds us that in extreme situations, humans can push their limits far beyond what we might think possible. We've seen some incredible stories of survival, but what do they all have in common? These tales of survival, as varied and unique as they are, share some striking similarities. They each tell a story of human beings pushed to their limits, yet somehow finding the strength and resilience to persevere. Let's take a moment to consider what these stories have taught us about the boundaries of human survival. Firstly, physical endurance is an undeniable factor in these survival stories. The human body's capacity to withstand harsh conditions, whether it be extreme cold, starvation, or physical trauma, is truly astounding. However, it's not just about enduring the physical hardships, it's about adapting to them. Like Anna Bågenholm, who survived hours in freezing water, or the survivors of the Andes flight disaster who adapted to their snowy environment, our bodies have a remarkable ability to adapt and survive. Yet survival isn't just a physical battle, it's a mental one as well. The power of the human mind to remain hopeful and resilient in the face of the most desperate circumstances is a common thread in these stories. Salvador Alvarenga, lost at sea for over a year, is a testament to the mind's capacity for resilience. His will to live, his refusal to surrender to despair, was perhaps his most vital survival tool. In addition to physical endurance and mental resilience, there's another key element at play: resourcefulness. The ability to use whatever is at hand to make the most of the available resources is a crucial survival skill. This resourcefulness can manifest in various ways, from the practical, like finding shelter or food, to the more abstract, like finding hope and motivation in the direst of situations. In the face of adversity, the human spirit can prove to be remarkably resilient. It seems that, when it comes to survival, the only true limit is the one we set for ourselves.